compatibility should not feel like work. If it's not coming to you both naturally, you're forcing the relationship.
Right.
Yeah, I feel if it's not coming to you naturally, you're forcing the relationship.
Why?
Cause compatibility, like it should be compatible, like pieces of a jigsaw.
Right.
If it doesn't go together, it doesn't go together.
Do you have siblings?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
4 brothers.
You're 4.
Yeah.
4 brothers.
Yeah.
And do you and every one of your brothers like get along perfectly?
No, but we gel for the most part.
You gel for the most part, right? So because you're not ideally compatible, doesn't mean that your relationship cannot work.
No, but what do you define as ideally compatible?
Essentially, I guess that's you just said like puzzles fitting together.
Yeah. So me and my brothers, we fit together. There are a lot of things we enjoy together. Very few things we don't enjoy together.
Right.
So like we all like football, we all like basketball, we all like women. But like yeah, like we all enjoy the same foods basically. Yeah, so like for the most part, our siblings, we gel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna have your essential differences, which will make it so that you couldn't possibly be like. My point is, if you guys are the same people, or no one is the same person, right? For any relationship to work, there has to be like compromise and concessions on both sides, and so it's probably more important for you to put work in a relationship than it is for you to be necessarily compatible. I also believe that like over time compatibility grows. So the reason why you and your brothers have grown to be that way is because over years you've learned and you've associated you've married yourself to end up becoming that way. A lot of the time when you're going to be with a potential partner, it might be like, I don't know, someone you knew from primary school, but it could be someone that you've met in the past few years, and you would have to work on that relationship for you guys to be quote unquote compatible. My point is the work that you put in is way more essential, way more important than any sort of like intrinsic compatibility.
I agree and I disagree for the most part, because you gave the jigsaw bit.
Yeah.
So jigsaws are compatible, but they are not the same.
Yes.
So like they're not squares or triangles.
Yes.
They are.
Yeah. The little face that. Yeah.
So yes, you need to work to put them together.
Yes.
But it fits naturally. Like you don't put in effort. That's where maybe I don't get your point.
Yeah.
It shouldn't feel like work. Like it should come naturally. Like for example, let me use eggs for example.
Yeah.
For me, for example, I hate when people drum with their utensils when eating.
Yeah.
But if I did like someone, it may not even cross my mind.
Yeah. Okay. So if you like the person, it might not be that much of an ick for you.
Exactly.
Because there are other things that you find with that person that you guys sort of like match with.
Exactly.
Right. That is a good example. I'm going to go back to your analogy around like, puzzles sort of fitting because they're like the right shape for each other. My belief here on my side is that like over time, if you had bits that did not fit in, over time, if you put a lot of work in, you probably merge for...
It's no longer a jigsaw if you put a lot of work in. It's supposed to like just gel.
I guess the point I'm trying to make is for the shapes to fit in that way anyways. Like, because how...
Okay, let me give this another example.
Okay.
Here. So, I don't know how you are, but for me, I'm a bit of a visual person. I should see someone like them physically.
Yeah.
Then want to get to know them. So, if physically... I don't find them attractive, no amount of work is going to make me want to be with them.
Right.
You get it?
Right.
So now it's going to come to maybe the next characteristic maybe I find attractive, maybe empathy. If at a certain age, it's difficult to teach people certain things.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to teach a 30-year-old woman how to be empathetic.
Yeah. Correct.
So if you don't have it, you don't have it. So like if that part or that characteristic is not there,
yeah,
we are not compatible. Okay. I don't see how I can work on it, to be honest.
Can I call a pause? Yeah, just pause. Let's quickly read it again because I feel like we might be straying away. It shouldn't feel like work. If it's not coming to both of you naturally, you're forcing the relationship. Okay, cool. So you've just said now that you can't put some sort of traits or characteristics into people. Let's start to go from the level where I guess you found somebody Yeah. So you found somebody and you are, how do I explain this?
You like them?
Yeah, like you're somewhat on. They've passed all of your
so
sort
let's
of
say
like
like-
regular tests.
yeah,
We're getting past
You're now
like,
with them.
You're with them, and like there are like certain things that you're beginning to find out. And
you don't necessarily like.
that no, they just don't match you completely.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. So they don't exactly fit like the puzzle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you might be torn between the idea of actually leaving them to go and find someone that might be, I don't know, more compatible, or sticking it through knowing that like, well, there's a certain degree to which like you're probably not going to like the chance that you're gonna find.
I guess it's about how big of a deal breaker it is to you.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you did stick around, if it was a deal breaker and
Yeah.
you didn't address it as a deal breaker and stuck around, that relationship wouldn't work.
Yeah, but then that's
Even
not.
regardless of the amount of work you put in.
Yeah, that's not compatible. That's deal breaker, innit? So like you're already with them. So like if they were a deal breaker, if it was a deal breaker,
No, you said you were with them, and then those traits or whatever it was.
so
didn't
yeah,
show till later.
you're finding out other things that you guys don't match on. I'm not saying that. So like you've looked through the basic. You said it's very important to you that like someone's physically attractive. They're the most beautiful woman in the world. Yeah, and then like it's been, I don't know, 1 year, and then I don't know. You might have certain sort of like spending habits, for instance, and then you find.
I gamble. No, like an example,
So you find, well, that's a bit extreme because I know what you're doing there, but like, do you know what I mean? You find out certain sort of like I don't know, traits or characteristics, and then you want to address them, such as like spending habits. Maybe you don't like how they budget, you don't like or whatever. Is it worth it after like a year in? Other things are kind of okay, and you're thinking
So
because of that
spending habits.
Yeah.
I feel like
as in it doesn't match yours, by the way. Maybe
yeah,
they're a bit
but
more
I
spendy
feel-
than you are.
Yeah, but okay, I don't know, but I feel like with women, you should see it like
Very early.
Yeah, early. Because women like what they like.
Right.
If she likes for the finer things, she's obviously going to like
Right.
spend a lot more.
Yeah.
As long as the finances is there.
Yeah.
So now the question is, do you have the finances to be doing that? Or is she spending her own money? That's another question. Like you get to. So if it doesn't bother you, or like if it's not like from a shared account, like let it be in it. You could work around it.
Right. So you can work around it.
A spending habit, yeah.
So you can.
Depending on how much you like it. But if it's from your pocket and then like, yeah, your money is going all the time.
Yeah. The final point I'm gonna make. The final point I'm gonna make to you, essentially, is that like the chances that you're gonna meet somebody that is essentially quite compatible to you is as rare as you finding another sibling in another person. There's so many people in this world, right? At some point, it is a matter of you get the basics and you love them. How possible is it going to be to love another human being? And then the rest of the other things, you kind of, that's the point of relationship. You work towards like an unattainable goal, but that's what relationship is about, and that's what I believe.
Kinda, but at the same time, is a case of what you put value on, what your priorities are.
Yeah.
So if those priorities, you find compatibility there.
Yeah.
The rest you could leave or not find issue.
You keep making my point. You keep making my point that we can work on stuff.
No, but there are certain things that are
deal breakers. Yeah, we agreed that deal breakers. But like as I said, you wouldn't end up being with somebody that did not sort of like check, like being rational. You wouldn't end up with somebody that did not tick your deal breakers anyways. Do you know what I mean? Like you're definitely gonna end up with an ugly babe. Do you know what I mean? Because you need them to be fine and beautiful. Here's the question, actually. If so what if you find out that they're exactly what you like, and then you get to know them and their character doesn't actually match what you desire? Would you usually be like, well, they're paying, but like that's it for me?
Yeah, like if you like metal music, like it's going to be an issue.
I feel like there's a certain demographic you're targeting there, but
wait, does anyone here like metal music? No, okay, fair enough. But like,
it's the opposite for me, by the way. I think character definitely comes first because once you meet, once you're with somebody and you realize that the person, for lack of a better word, is a let me not use that word in public, but is not okay, they start to look start to look ugly. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? They look like their character, their behavior.
Broke man has no business being in a relationship, but a broke woman can still be the perfect partner.
I'll let you go first.
No, please feel free.
Okay, wait. Okay, fundamentally, let's start with foundational. Do you agree with the statement?
So I think my agreement is based off of reality.
Okay, so yes, you agree with the statement.
Based off of reality.
Based off of reality. Okay, so
to an extent as well, because I don't think a woman should be without anything. I don't believe you have to have substance.
Okay.
However, based on the world we live in and what's currency to men and women, that's almost to a degree the reality.
Okay. See, now I'm glad that you kind of phrased it that way, because for me, the way I would have kind of handled the question, handled the statement would have been, your answer kind of differs, what people's answers differs depending on what things they put importance on, if that makes sense. If you're in a situation, because it goes back to the time of debate that men are providers and women are nurturers, whatever. If you're in a situation and you're with someone that's typically traditional, let's say that you're with a Nigerian man, like OG Nigerian man, and both of you click on that aspect. You'll be like, I don't know how to explain it.
So I think fundamentally, traditionally, men have the title or the role of being providers, and women are
women are supposed to be nurturers, yes.
Yeah, nurturers, and I guess they look after the home. They're more in tune with the emotional side, right? And men, so also in terms of exchange, of what men can offer women and what women offer men, men are very visual beings. They tend to go after beauty. Yes, you need to have, substance up there. You need to have your own thing in this modern age.
Okay.
But if we're going back to, again, tradition, that's sort of, I guess,
so the currency
the baseline. Yeah.
So the currency of a man, the currency of a woman.
Yeah.
Okay. Going back. Okay. So the question is, I'm trying to make sure I get the question or the statement. The question is, let me just read it.
A broke man.
So a broke man has no business being in a relationship, but a broke woman can still be the perfect partner. Okay, so I will just answer based on the type of individual that I am, and I would say it's 50% true. Depending on the situation, and I guess you can't answer it in two halves. A broke man can't be in a relationship or has no business being in a relationship. Thinking from a logical point of view, it makes sense because relationships cost money, right? Just as fundamentally, the relationships cost money, especially if you're speaking like stereotypically, let's say our age, our demographic, relationship costs money, point blank, yeah. Whether you want to explore the scenario where the man's broke and the woman's broke and they let's say Erica Badu types, one with nature, them things there, like and materialistic things and things like that don't matter, and they put emphasis more on, let's say, quality time in relation to walking parks or something. Obviously, I'm being dramatic, but then that's a different scenario. But let's say, taking me for example, if it's a case where I wasn't in a position that I had bread, I wouldn't be in a relationship. Won't be my first thought, me personally. But to broadly paint the picture that a broke man has no business being in a relationship, I don't necessarily agree with, because not every man or woman has the same thought process of putting emphasis on the materialistic things. Go ahead.
So let's look at it this way. What do men offer in relationships? Financial security, just, I guess, physical security in general. Some men. Physical security, being providers, so financial security. Oh, I've lost my train of thought. Sorry. Give you a break, because I feel like I had what I was going to say, but I forgot.
Okay, what I would say is, I don't disagree with your thought process on it, but, I would say that the thought process is very, it's very mundane, and it's very just, men are providers and women, they don't necessarily need to have financial whatever to be the thingy. And stereotypically, I guess you can claim that's true, but especially in modern day society of our them, I promise you, I will not date a woman that's broke.
Yeah,
that's just point blank. And I feel like it's a general thing. So you're now edging into society, into a situation where because I guess you boil it down to gender roles or whatever, but you're edging towards a space in time where men and women, they contribute in the same manner. So it's not just solely the man that's like, oh, he's bringing in the bread in the relationship. Yeah, let's say you want to bring in majority of the bread, that's fine. But as a woman, you're still bringing bread to the table.
Do you think a broke man feels confident being a leader? So that's what I was going to talk about that I forgot.
Do you feel like a broke man feels comfortable being a leader?
Yeah. Because let's be honest, a lot of men's confidence is actually rooted in their ability to provide, in their ability to be a leader. And I guess providing that protection, I guess, for their family as well. It's rooted in those three things. Obviously there's more, but I'd say primarily, right? So if you remove that, and I have this belief as well that you never truly know completely a man's character until they're in the position of wealth, or they at least have access to a good amount of it, because then you know and see their real character. But
my problem, my problem with even the whole essence of the conversation, essence of the topic, this thing in general, right, is that it strips away every other identity of what a man is besides finances. And that's where my problem generally relies, right? Boiling it down purely to the fact that, and I'm not even necessarily that you're incorrect. Wait, I'm not saying that you're incorrect, right? But the way society has made it, it's a social construct that
men created. That's what I wanted to also add in.
Okay, you're saying that men created, but women also enforce it today.
But they created.
I'm not disagreeing with you. Okay. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm saying that it's a something that women enforce it today because both still benefit from the system now. Even the concept of a woman can be broken what did the statement say? A woman can be broke and not have to worry and not whatever it was.
And also, I think we need to put context into this broke thing. Is it broke forever? Is this man not ever gonna get a job? Is there never gonna be some sort of
then you're focusing. See now
I'm saying for the woman.
That's what I'm saying. So now you're focusing on more what I'm saying, that boiling it down strictly to finances is kind of dangerous, because now what you're talking about is potential, and that's a whole nother situation.
Exactly.
If you're dating somebody that's broke but you see he has potential, not just in relation to finances, and providing isn't necessarily just financially related.
But like I said, the trouble or the iffy part of potential is that you never really know what's on the other side.
But that's a relationship.
But I think for what I'm saying is, in this case for men, when they're not in that position of, wealth, or that status isn't exactly within their pyramid at the moment, I don't know. There's just that opportunity for a complete 360.
180.
And I just feel like, for me, if you're broke as a man, I'm sorry, get your money up, and then maybe transition into.
So what in okay, I want to ask you, we're going to go over time, you better just keep your mouth quiet. I want to ask you, in a situation so you've met somebody and you're together, what do you offer in this situation?
What do you mean, what do I offer?
In this situation, because the like people hate the topic.
But I'm saying,
wait. In a situation where a man and a woman come together to be in a relationship, what do you expect to offer to that man, and what do you expect him to offer to you? Let me ask you that. Then at least we can understand where each other kind of stand. I mean, lay, because that's what I said.
It does make sense, because I guess there's an exchange, right? And you should not enter a relationship if you don't know where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a reason why you've decided to become a unit or come together.
Mm-hmm.
There's companionship, like that you both offer one another, so it's not just one-sided.
Okay.
There's growth, like obviously growing together and stuff, emotional support, mental stability, all that kind of thing, being that kind of go-to person for the other person.
And then, so when it now comes to the question of finances, is that when the mutual exchange then stops?
To an extent, yes, because
See,
again, the men want to be leaders, right?
Yeah, but
you want the
financially providing someone doesn't necessarily make you a leader by any means.
No, but it's part of it. I don't disagree.
No, see, that's where we disagree.
I don't disagree. No, but it's a part of it.
That's where we disagree.
You can't remove financial.
If you let me ask you a question,
because you can't do life without it.
So let me ask you a question. If it's a case where you're in a situation with a man, and you both earn money, but you earn more than him, does that?
No, but we're talking about a broke man. Do you get what I mean? So that's moving to a different.
But the premise is still the same.
I don't know if I.
You don't know
subscribe.
if you agree.
Last 30 seconds, make your final points.
Okay, go on. Go on.
So my final point still starts with what I started with, in terms of, yes, I don't think a broke man should be dating, because you need money to date and be in like a relationship. I guess a good fruitful one, right?
Okay.
But at the same time, I don't think a woman shouldn't, be improving herself. I don't think she should subscribe to being complacent.
To answer or to put my opinion on the statement, I agree with you in the statement that I don't think a broke man should be focused on dating, because I feel like there's definitely things in your life that you need to prioritize first. But where we differ is that the same holds true for the woman. That's where we differ.
I just think it's the reality. Whether or not I agree, it's the reality.
That's your reality.
No. There are broke women that are in relationships.
No, but that's what I'm saying. So it depends on what people put different emphasis on. For me, if I'm in a situation, the main thing for me is that we're partners. And when I mean partners, 50-50, and I'm not talking 50-50 in terms of splitting. I mean we're actually in this together. If it's a case where you're with somebody and you're saying that we share companionship, this, that, and the third, but then the emotional strain of finances, etc., because that bodes its own stress, its own everything in itself. But then that falls on me. That we're not 50-50. I'm looking after you.
No, I agree, but I'm telling you that this is the reality. Like, it doesn't mean that I subscribe to it, but I'm saying it is what is happening.
Social media undermines democracy by spreading misinformation and increasing division.
I agree.
That is good, sir.
Yeah.
So my thing is, I don't know how democracy can be undermined, right? Because it's a fact. Democracy is results. It's the people. It's the majority. It can be influenced, but
It cannot be undermined.
no.
Got you.
Maybe I'm not understanding.
No. I
Do you
think.
see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the vote of the majority.
Yeah.
It's something that's already agreed.
Yeah.
So what's there
What's
to
been-
undermine?
Yeah.
It can be influenced before it's then concluded on.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, let's not. I was going to reference elections, but
We will
let's not.
reference elections.
It's-
We
it's-
will.
it's- yeah.
Of course we will.
Please. I don't want any trouble with.
Because and that is a really, really good point. Now, essentially, one of the most important factors of a democracy that you wouldn't find in sort of a dictatorship is free media. Media is so important that people get the right. So free media basically means media without any sort of, or media with the least amount of like propaganda.
Yeah.
Where like the incumbent government isn't able to basically sway, control, and use their powers to sort of like influence. Because at the end of the day, we can all sort of make these judgments, these decisions based on the influence, based on the information that we're getting, right? And in so many sort of democracies at the moment, a lot of right wing sort of parties, right wing people are basically they're tainting what free media is meant to be in a democracy by massively influencing social media, and because a lot of them are like, for instance, a lot of let's use the US elections as an example, because this is the worst time for him to have said this. We all know that Elon Musk owns Twitter, right? And what is if Elon Musk basically supports Trump and he's another billionaire that owns that form of media, like, do you know what I mean? What's the algorithm gonna basically support? The algorithm is gonna be telling people that like Trump is the right person, everyone else is against the wrong media. And if we let's then like cancel like what's just happened very, very recently. If we go to original legacy media is what used to basically inform people around democracy. That's what the West always claimed to be, you know, what the free media that basically informs people to be able to make a democratic decision, right? And so people like Rupert Murdoch owning like massive sort of media outlets in most part of the West means that kind of a powerful man basically sways what people think. And so a lot of that sway, now what it looks like in reality in our life right now is basically another bastard billionaire like Musk owning Twitter, and we can't basically then just pick one side. So one of the reasons why Barack Obama won the 2008 elections was because he was one of the first people to tap into Facebook, social media as a sort of
just change the
and
narrative.
I believe they also used, was MySpace around in 2008? I believe it was, yeah. It wasn't as but it wasn't. But like I remember reading somewhere that like that's where sort of like how they were able to galvanize a lot of young people. And you would have, you know, like when Facebook first came out, like it was, the demographic on Facebook was young people, and it was like he was one of the people that really, really used social media to basically influence a lot of people to feel like, you know, he's new, he's fresh, it's something different. And so the way in which the information from social media can massively sway and influence people, it can basically taint the way you get your information, the quality of information, the truthfulness of the information. That way it can undermine basically democracy, whether it's the left or the right that's using it. Do you know what I mean? But because whoever overpoweringly owns and uses the media, uses social media, if those two things are not balanced, whoever owns the advantage basically taints the truth, the information to their side.
No, I think there isn't a straight answer for this one. It's a 50-50 thing. And if we even take it back home as well, you're Nigerian, I'm Nigerian. With the elections that, you know, happened recently with Peter Obi and Tinubu. You know, T-Pain. T-Pain. Well, that's it's a T with a lot of pain. That economy is down. Obviously, we know what the people wanted, or at least the young
nearly
people,
300 million people in that country. You feel like you know what the country wanted.
People,
right?
That have or that had access to social media at the time. And I know that there were lots of campaigns trying to, you know, go into local areas to just promote the right candidate to win. And what was the result?
Well, we wouldn't say Nigeria is a functioning democracy, would we?
I mean, we have to.
But
we have to go.
We wouldn't call it a functioning democracy.
But regardless,
that isn't a functional democracy. If you look at UN reports, American reports, most of like the countries, everyone that basically sort of like tried to standardize the results of that election that country isn't a functional democracy is not a valid argument. Come again.
No, but wait. As much as it's not functional, how did Tinubu get into power?
Oh, by a lot of jugu jugu jaga jaga.
But that's not something that's proven, right? And what is it proven? Wait. But in the eyes of the law, has it been proven? They took it to court, but did it go anywhere?
In the eyes of international law,
no. But in Nigeria itself,
so
that's what I'm saying.
So you're saying
that's why I'm referencing it as a good example.
Your point is that, like, even though social media seems to be overwhelmingly going P2B side,
look at
like what ended up looking was that how would we be able to quantify that? Because I told you that, like, Elon Musk owns Twitter, and so most of the algorithm was basically favoring Trump, and we saw the results of the election. How would you be able to say to me that apparently, like, how can we measure that apparently? Because it could just have been your own side of Twitter, your perspective, that made it seem like Peter Obi was sort of the dominant figure. Again, it's not functioning.
So when I started, like I said, it's a 50-50, which means what you said I agreed with, even though I guess I'm like arguing for the
other side,
but like I said, it's a 50-50 because you've given that example and I've also given this example, although as we've acknowledged, it's not functional, but we still have to go off of what's the reality and who is leading the country now. And as far as they're concerned, as far as the person in power is concerned, he's been elected by the people. You can't tell him otherwise.
Another point I'll give from my side is was the Brexit debate.
Right, that too.
And do you know, so most of that was social media. Yeah. And a lot of people, again, because the problem is you can use social media to give misinformation to then sway people whatever way, right? It's like democracy is for everybody having the correct piece of information, the right piece of information, and they're like,
that's why I said you can influence it.
Yeah, but it
that's
is.
Why I said you can influence it.
Because if it was what you said, in the sense that, like, people get to make an informed decision based on fair, sensible, like, argument, like they got the right piece of information, then democracy would be exactly what you said. It'd be fair and free and it'll be fine. But, like, media influences the information that people get. Social media breeds a lot of misinformation based on whoever is able to sort of, like, control stuff.
I agree.
So, like, if you remember around the time of the Brexit debate, like, well, after, we all know that, like, Cambridge Analytica, God help me if it's the wrong people, but basically they basically spread a lot of misinformation on the Brexit side, right? A lot of people that then came out of the Brexit debate, like farmers, came out realizing that they got the wrong end. Everybody was hearing 350 million from Europe that they're gonna get, and then now people have then realized after that they've made the wrong choice, right? That is literally.
But was it still democracy though? That's my point.
So we had the democratic mandate, but, like, it wasn't a democratic process because they got misinformation that they then ended up finding out was, like, wrong. They thought it was going to get 350 million every week back from the EU.
So again,
that's not democracy, is it?
Yeah, but it was influenced. But
if you vote for the wrong thing, you've not been able to actually have a proper democratic.
But it's also your responsibility to be well informed and make sure you're getting the correct information.
Social media does not afford us that amount.
There are many other.
Literally, we established at the beginning that the information and whoever controls the media basically controls your access to correct information for there to be a good democratic establishment, for you to be able to make a good choice. For you to be able to make your choice, you have to be able to hear, like, the right thing. So whoever's swaying the wrong thing for you, like, if someone told you something was, if someone said to you, that is the color blue, right? And you want the color blue, to then find out that they put a tint on it and it's actually black at the beginning, but you voted for blue. When they take it off and you realize it's black, I'm going to ask you what you wanted. You just said, I wanted blue. Well, it's black that you voted for. Yeah, that's a democratic solution.
Okay, but also, are you just checking one source for your answers? Are you? If you're paying £1,000 for that blue, whatever you've just mentioned, are you likely to then go to find other options and see maybe you could have gotten it cheaper, maybe you could have found it more expensive but higher quality?
So
But so why are you relying on one source for your answer? Why are you focused heavily on social media for your only source of truth? There's the news. I'm not saying the news also.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep touching this. I'm not saying the news is always true or they don't also twist the narrative, but I still firmly believe democracy is democracy, because once the result is in, regardless of, it's the result, it's the fact.
Again, I agree. I was gonna say, you make a very fair point in the sense that, like, you know, why would you check the one source, right?
And I think also,
and the you know, the beginning of this argument was that, like, does this actual source basically undermine democracy? So if you're here saying that we should check other sources, it might seem to me that you are proving the point that the source that we're talking about might not be a really good source. It can be doing the Trump.
But like I said, it can be influenced. So we're not removing.
So are you saying that we should use other sources then? Because
multiple.
Because social media is not a reliant one that should help you make a democratic decision.
Like I said, it can be influenced. So
get me out of this seat, man. Get me out of this seat.
I wanted to make.
Get me out.
Fine,
Give me a hand.
Let me tell you something.
Should be the best government, or do we overestimate the wisdom of the masses?
Do we overestimate the wisdom of the masses?
You can start by defining what democracy is. Also.
For the people, by the people. For us, by us.
Okay. Okay. I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
Okay.
What it's supposed to mean. Yeah, I'll go further and say, just for so it's a clear understanding, a vast majority voting for a specific thing based on information provided.
So I guess, like, in terms of the vast majority, that's what democracy is. Majority carries the vote. But you're also aware of, like, a simple majority, 2/3 majority, that type of thing as well, right?
Yeah, but that
okay. Yeah.
I just wanted to use the basic as not to pollute the pool too much. But
Fair.
Go on.
So how is that not the best way of coming to a decision for a large group of people?
I feel like, so you're asking me personally, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I feel like, and if you've listened to our previous pod before, it's, for me, democracy is a necessary construct.
A necessary construct.
But it isn't real. And the reason why I say that is I feel like people need to feel like they're in control of their life. So in that aspect, democracy is a beautiful thing.
So what makes it not real?
Right. So, but in real life and real world application, whether it's through backdoor or through plain in the open, the use of misinformation to, some might say, influence, I would just say circumvent the process entirely, therefore makes democracy kind of null and void.
I disagree.
I mean, he brought up the example of the referendum, right? If you ask the people that voted to leave Brexit why they voted, the main reasons that they'll give you is because immigrants were taking our jobs and we were giving too much money to the European Union.
Mm-hmm. But that sentiment still exists with the immigrants still taking their jobs.
Yeah, so okay. So let me finish. With those two, those are the main arguments they'll give you, right? Yeah. And those arguments are based on the misinformation and propaganda that was punched and polluted through every form of information gathering platform.
Okay, so right now I kind of get what you're saying, but I still don't see how misinformation makes democracy not the best form of decision making or governance. If you want, because misinformation, I feel like it has been with us from time. People tell lies all the time. It's about you, the individual or group of people, to be discerning enough to know that, oh, okay, this information is coming from probably a biased source, or this question marks are here and there.
See, so now you're thinking of it basically through a lens of your. I'm thinking through real world application. You're thinking of
Okay, real world application. Let's
Let's
take it back to West Africa then.
see now.
Are you Nigerian?
Yeah, but see,
I'm Ghanaian.
Okay, go on.
Both countries have experienced coup d'etats,
okay.
and both countries have experienced democracy. As to whether it's a working democracy, backdoor, misinformation, yeah, it's debatable. But which do you think the people actually prefer? Do they prefer?
But it's not about what. Just because you prefer it doesn't mean that's what's best.
Which is better? And if democracy is not the best form currently,
Sorry.
what would you?
Sorry. I want to be clear, and I think I thought I said in the beginning. Even though I don't think it's real, I think it's necessary.
Okay, so if it's not the best, but you think it's necessary, what do you think is better? What other form of decision making or governance do you think is better? Because most of the time, for example, where I'm from, Ghana, anytime like there's economic hardship, this, that, you hear people saying, hey, you a coup d'etat. Fam, you don't want a coup d'etat. You are just saying it because you heard Rollins did something. I don't know why Nigerians idolize Rollins though. Maybe I should ask you one day. But yeah, they've heard Rollins did a coup d'etat. Our first president was also like taking over a coup d'etat. But if you ask people who lived through it, it was hell. And regardless of how bad a democratic government is, you always have the choice to take them out, change, vote for what you want.
See,
You get what I mean?
See,
Yeah, I mean, there may be question marks, but anytime you ask, so what's the best alternative? There's never an answer.
I'm going to. Is democracy truly the best government, or do we overestimate the wisdom of the masses? I feel like is democracy the best government?
For me, for
you?
the types I've seen,
You'll
let's say monarchies, democracies, Putin's type, the Chinese one government type. From what I've seen,
okay.
dictatorships,
Yeah.
I think democracy is the best form.
I feel like it's kind of a hard question for me to answer. Dictatorship, obviously, dictatorship. We obviously know dictatorship isn't a good thing. Blah 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 blah. Right? Well, not blah blah blah. But dictatorship is not a good thing. If you're talking about a monarchy system, a monarchy or a true monarchy system, it kind of has the same, in my opinion, sentiment as a dictatorship, anyways. Right? So it isn't great either, because the land isn't run on the decision of the people, isn't run by the people. So by a process of elimination, a democracy is. But the point that I'm trying to put across is that even though the concept and the theology of democracy appears good, I'm trying to say that it isn't real.
So it's more a case. So if I'm understanding you, it's more a case of
and it isn't real based on. The second part of the statement is probably a good thing to kind of bring in. Do we overestimate the wisdom of the masses? The reason why democracy isn't real is because we overestimate.
How are you overestimating the wisdom or the need of the masses? So
I didn't say need. I said
no, but
wisdom.
Voting, taking decisions, is it that based on your needs and wants? Hence, wisdom.
But that's not the same
or
thing.
Prioritize what you need or want. So if I'm voting for someone, it's based on their manifesto or whatever they've been campaigning on, and if it aligns with my needs and wants, I will take that decision. Hence, wisdom. So I don't see how you can say you're overestimating the needs and wants of the majority of people.
Wisdom and
it aligns. In terms of taking decision, it aligns.
Because wisdom and needs and want will be separate.
So why do people take decisions in a democratic?
If you ask me, right, using wisdom is because really and truly, if we're talking about the game of politics is who can tell the best lie, right? If you look at let's take the UK for example, because it's close to home and it's an easy example to use. If you take Labour and you take Conservatives, Labour will tell you X, Y, Z, and the historically speaking, the main essence of Labour was to help the working folk. That's what it was. And Conservatives normally typically align with the traditionally rich white, right? But if you now look at what they've become, using wisdom to understand and read their manifestos, the policy that they're portraying, you will understand that they're both lies, really and truly, right? That's using wisdom. Your needs. I understand the point you're making, that using wisdom to see which policy better aligns with your needs, right? I understand that completely. But making a decision based on, well, if you use wisdom to what you understand for both to be lies isn't wisdom at all. It's kind of just, and that's what I'm saying. There's the fundamental flaw of democracy.
So you don't have a problem with democracy. You have a problem with how democracy is run.
I said that's what I said in the beginning. I said that democracy is a necessary illusion, but it's an illusion.
It's not an illusion. It's not being. It's been corrupted. If that's what you're saying, fine. But there's no other. For me, I don't feel there's any other alternative.
If you take white paint and you put black in it, is it white anymore?
No, it's a shade of grey.
It's a shade of grey. If you take democracy, what's supposed to be free and fair based on information, let me finish. Okay. If you take democracy and you circumvent and you kind of, what's the word? You spoil it with lies and
what
whatever.
Is democracy? We defined it in the beginning.
We defined
all these lies. They are condiments. The fries, the lies and things are the ketchup, mayonnaise.
That's where we differ. For me, my understanding of what I will explain democracy to people as is a decision of the vast majority based on information, right? Because you vote for a certain thing based on the information.
Or people may also make a decision based on a lack of information.
It's the same thing. So the moment that you put your lies or the moment you misrepresent the truth in any fashion, for me, that's no longer democracy.
But how are you going
because you're not allowing people to vote.
How are you going to avoid lies? Like the first instance if you're Christian, the first problem we ever had in this world was from some snake telling a lie. You get what I mean? Lies have been with us. Even in aside politics and democracy, people tell lies all the time.
Okay, so what point are you trying to make in relation to that and democracy?
One, democracy for me is the best alternative now. Because if I should ask you now what other alternative there is, I feel I wouldn't get an answer. That's one. And two, the wisdom of the masses. I feel like it's going to be you can't say we are overestimating the wisdom of the masses, especially when they are voting based on their needs and wants. If someone came and promised, free food, another person came and promised free healthcare.
That's not wisdom.
I'm coming.
Go on.
The people will take a decision based on what they need or want at that point in time and vote on that.
But I'm not disagreeing with that. But
you get what I mean?
But I'm saying making the decision. If one part, if Labour or Conservative let's say there was another general election looming, and then one of them said, there will be free food, there will be a £300 stipend monthly of free food for everybody, irrespective of class, and people voted based on that, not knowing where the money's going to come from, or not using any form of intellectual aptitude at all to understand. If you're promising me £300 a month, and this is one of the main and fundamental principles as to why I'm voting for you, and that turns out to be a lie, that is not democracy. That is trickery. You literally lied to me in order to get my vote.
No, I think I think you're getting democracy mixed up, and then people trying to get into power mixed up. I feel there are two different things. Democracy is the system, and how the person gets into power or gets you to vote for them is a different thing. You get what I mean?
That doesn't make sense.
It does make sense.
Because you said how people get you into power.
Democracy, the majority of people making a decision is as simple as that. If you made a decision based on me lying to you, you still went through a democratic process. Simple as that.
No. See, now you're separating it based on reality and theology. That's what I'm saying.
No, there's no reality and theology.
Yeah, that's it. Because you're saying democracy.
We are 10 people in here.
We are 10 people here.
10 people in here. How many of you want apple juice? 6. Simple majority. Mm-hmm. But the apple juice, I've diluted it, so it's just kakrebi na wom. It's just a little apple juice in. I've lied to you.
Yes.
But you still made a democratic decision for the apple juice.
Last point.
That's no, because you're trying to strip away. One can't live without the other. That doesn't make sense.
No, democracy is on its own.
No,
Telling
democracy-
lies is on its own.
It's not telling. You're boiling it to telling lies. It's information.
Misinformation. If I misinform you, I've told you lies.
So okay, so let me ask you: if it was true information, would you classify that as part of the of democracy?
If you made your decision based on
if it was true information,
democracy. So let me simplify. Democracy is a decision-making process. As to how you came to that decision is a different discussion.
How's that?
It was good. It was fine. I enjoyed it. Yeah. I don't want to sound too cocky, and like I had fun, man.
Took your ish, man. Took your ish.
I enjoyed that. I think a lot of my reasoning was very much like, I guess, in my favor and in my interest. But both sparring partners really got me to think about the other side. And those questions are very nuanced, and I'm happy we explored it.
What was one point you wish you made?
None, man. I was slam dunking on them bombs.
Nice. Did anything surprise you in the conversation?
Yes, I can't imagine that somebody will bring up Nigeria as a functional democracy. And then the earlier one, we didn't get to the discussion about relationships. We didn't get to sort of like get into the nuances of relationships. So like I was surprised that I didn't kind of come with certain points. But yeah, and I was quite surprised when they started bringing up looks when we're talking about compatible. Actually, that makes sense. Never mind. Yeah.
What was your main takeaway?
Oh. Yeah, my main takeaway is that even though I can make a good point, there are both their reasoning made a lot of sense. So I've actually come away thinking, first of all, the idea that compatibility isn't the biggest factor with relationships, I might need to revisit, because I think my rationale has always been, there's such a in an ideal or in a life situation, you're not gonna find someone that's compatible. Basically my assumptions have been shifted based on the conversations I've had today. Is that there isn't just one assumption to make to get a rationale for an argument. Yeah, you can actually flip around different things, and stuff's not just my life perspective.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was good. It was a good conversation and just nice to get different perspective. Sometimes I had like a brain freeze and I wasn't able to actually articulate what I was thinking or what I had thought beforehand. But overall, I thought it was good.
What was one point that you wish you made with taking a chance to?
So with the relationship one about a broke man being in a relationship or a broke woman not being in a relationship or something like that, yeah. So just to clarify, it's not about me or what I would do personally. However, I'm just highlighting that it's the reality of the world, and there is a lot of value placed on men being providers in relationships, and a woman can be in a relationship without having a lot of money. It's happening, it exists, right? So it's not like I'm making it up, or it's kind of like what I'm promoting. However, it's what happens. So, but I do think that women should have their own thing or have substance. So.
Did anything surprise you during the
Did anything surprise me? I think the fact that, although I agree with the whole Nigeria not counting, but the fact that we're just going to throw it out of the window completely, that's kind of ludicrous and insane. It literally doesn't make sense. Just because it's not functioning, we're not going to regard it, but it's still a system, so how does that work? That was a shocker. So yeah, even though it's not functioning, you just can't dispose it. That's my opinion anyway. It still counts for something, even if it's not recognized in the West or all over the world. And why must everything start from the West anyway? Do you get what I mean? Not saying that it's a good system or that's what we should follow. However, it's the system that's working, and it's a lot of people's reality. So I just don't see how it can just be disposed. Yeah.
And what was your main takeaway from
Oh, okay, that's a interesting one. My main takeaway. That I need to, I guess, be more informed about how people think in terms of not everything is as black and white. Even if it might seem logical to you, or you would just expect that, this is kind of the line of thought, especially with the whole democracy thing. I guess the definition got like lost in translation, especially with the back and forth. I think some people might have missed what's democracy, like the baseline of democracy. Like, I get the whole decorative, language around democracy and how it comes to play, but democracy itself is a decision made by the people for the people. Whether or not it was influenced, it's still a decision, right? So it still counts. Otherwise.
What was one point you wish you maybe didn't get the chance?
One point I wish I made, but I didn't get the chance. Nothing pops up at the top of my head. I feel like I got everything across.
Did anything surprise you during the debates?
I feel like what probably surprised me is that I think I find it easier to see someone's argument from their point of view, but I don't feel like the reverse necessarily holds true.
And lastly, what is your main takeaway, if any?
What is my main takeaway? No, I think people prefer to cling on to something that isn't real, as opposed to understanding the reality of certain things in relation to both situations, in relation to all of the debates, but especially my two in it. Yeah.
So, how was that?
It was a good session. People have gathered. The Avengers come and free their mind. Yeah.
What was one point you wish you made but you didn't get the chance to?
I just feel maybe I could have explained my points further, but it was also discussion wise. So I don't want to interrupt someone. I just want to be friendly, Yeah. Be respectful with it. Yeah.
Was there anything that surprised you during the conversations?
Just mine or in general?
In general. Oh.
So the Do Broke People Deserve Love one, I feel like, but I feel like they were focusing on just finances as opposed to what people may value in a relationship. Yeah.
What's your
Broke people deserve love.
Fair enough. Once again, not that actual question. Cool. And lastly, what was your main takeaway, if anything?
My main takeaway. So nothing is ever black and white. Yeah. So for example, the democracy one. Yeah. Obviously, we all know democracy is for the people, by the people, majority taking a decision. But there are certain things that may circumvent or corrupt the whole process. Yeah. So I get it, but at the same time, if you do ask them what's the best alternative, they have no answer. So it's
Shade. Perfect.